So in this episode, I'm going to go through my dream journal and read through my favorite lucid dreams that I've ever recorded in my dream journal. I've been consistently dream journaling for 6 years now, but I've been lucid dreaming my whole life since I was a kid. But once I started to practice more and induce lucid dreams and learn more about it, I realized that there's so much you can do when you stay in the dream. I'm going to start with one of my favorite, most legendary lucid dreams. It's called the Lucid Lesson. I start off in my old school, like elementary school, and I see my younger brother running around and playing. And I'm lucid right away. So I start talking to him and we just start chatting and it's really fun. Good vibes. And I'm just exploring, nothing really interesting is going on. But then the dream zooms out and fades to black. And next thing I know, I'm in this movie theater. On the screen is like trippy fractals, like DMT kaleidoscope visuals. And there's like this elf being, like one of those DMT elves. And he's like smiling and laughing and waving at me. And like I'm feeling really good and happy. Like I feel like I'm in this other world. And so I actually wake up from that dream. And I really loved it. And so I went back to sleep with the intention of continuing that lucid dream. It felt really cool to be in this little kaleidoscope movie theater. So sure enough, I go back to sleep, and this is the best lucid dream I've ever had to date, or one of them. And I'm lucid right away. I'm standing outside this building, and it's raining. I'm with one of my spirit guides. How do I know he's one of my spirit guides? Well, in this dream, I just recognized him. Even though I didn't know his face from this life, I felt like I knew him. It was like an inner knowing of like, oh yeah, it's you again. He presented as like an Arab-looking man, but it was about the energy. That's where I knew him from. He says he protects me throughout lifetimes and that we've been friends for many, many lifetimes. We get out of this cab and I run through the rain into this building, and he kind of laughs at me, like almost like, oh, silly human, like, and I guess he forgot what rain feels like. So we enter this giant building. It's kind of like a restaurant. And he's telling me all these secrets of the universe, things about life and death, reincarnation. I'm asking questions and he's answering. I can't remember every detail, but I know that the information was transmitted to me. He's telling me how we choose to incarnate and be born in this life over and over for different reasons, and that souls that are not currently in human form can sit back and watch Earth and whatever's going on, and they check in on us and support us. He explains how there's certain beings that act like guards through the dimensions that protect the veil, and they help keep track of things to make sure that it all goes smoothly. He said that there are people called centennials, or I guess souls, that have been around for a very, very long time. They're like the old souls. And he says that there's new souls and different levels. He's telling me a lot about how the universe is structured and these different dimensions, but again, I can't remember all these details. And I was fully lucid in this dream, trying to remember as much as I could, but it's like bringing information from another dimension. I have nothing to write it down with, so it's all that I could memorize from the dream, and this dream felt like it was hours long. I then ask him about my podcast and if I'm on the right track and if it's going to be successful. And he plays me one of my future episodes. I had a different intro music, and I was talking to a guy who I haven't recognized yet in any of my current podcasts. But in the dream, I didn't really pay attention to it because I cringe at hearing myself talk. So I was like, no, change the subject. But eventually we sit at a table and there's a lot of people around. It's like a crowded place. And he's telling me, be low key, try not to be noticed because humans aren't allowed here. This is for non-human souls. And it's kind of set up as a restaurant. So there are these servers, which kind of felt like a play on words, like computer servers, but also restaurant servers. They're like dressed in black, and when they find somebody that's not supposed to be there, they'll kick you out of the dream or wake you up. So I was laying low trying to avoid them. I call it the dream police sometimes. They have to keep the veil of reality for humans. But they spot me, so they do something that makes me levitate out of the dream into a tunnel. But I manage to will myself back into the dream, and I just spawn into a different part of the building. And this time I'm kind of like in a cafe with this lady, her baby, and her husband. And I'm just talking to her, and then I get the idea to practice French. So I start speaking to her in fluent French. I'm not fluent in French, but I did practice in high school, so I know a little bit. But in this dream, I was fluently conversating back and forth with her, and it felt like I was really saying something. I obviously can't remember the exact conversation. And then she's continuing the lessons that the other dream character was telling me. She makes this metaphor and compares the spirits in the astral world to giant flagpoles, like the ones that stand up really high. And then us as humans on Earth, we are the little plastic wire marking flags that you see on the ground sometimes. At first, I don't really understand what she means by that, but the more I think about it, it makes more sense. She told me a lot of other things, and she also told me intentionally that I will not be able to remember everything I learned in this dream. Not consciously, at least, but it will integrate into my life, and I will remember. I just won't be able to tell every detail because that's just not how dreams work. And she says, similarly, when we're born, we're not supposed to remember everything about our past lives. We intentionally wipe the slate clean so that we don't remember. And then she says, when we die, we kind of debrief and get reviews on how we did. And then we walk into another huge movie theater. Big screen. Huge. There's some souls / people, I don't know, whatever you call them, sitting around and watching. And they have this remote control to change the channel. And on the screen is the live dinosaurs era. Not like a movie, but they're watching it live. And they can change the channel to any time and place on Earth. So they can watch me right now recording this video. They can watch you watching this video. They can watch the future, past, present. Not in like a creepy way, but that's just kind of their way of tuning into Earth and checking in. They are not bound by time and space like we are. So then I'm asking her more questions about this because I am mind blown. And she is also telling me how any movie that we see exists somewhere, somehow. Movies are based in truth. They hide the truth in plain sight. So even the craziest sci-fi movies exist in reality in some dimension somewhere. Or maybe it's its own dimension. I don't really know. I start asking her more questions so that I can understand because that was a little bit mind-boggling and kind of breaks my brain. You're telling me that like King Kong and Godzilla are like fighting in some alternate reality somewhere and we're like watching it as a movie? Or is the movie the reality? Anyway, I didn't really understand, so I asked her how it worked, and she didn't really answer me because one of the dream guards or servers noticed me again, like, who's this girl asking all these questions? She's not supposed to be in here. And so, of course, I wake up and fade back into my body. Now, this next one is an interesting nightmare / sleep paralysis false awakening experience that I wanted to share to see if anybody else has experienced something similar. It started off with me leaving this building like I worked there, but it was really late, like 3 a.m. There's some people in the parking lots, and I'm kind of sketched out like women usually are, so I go to my car, lock my doors, and start driving. But this dude and 2 girls approach my window and try to talk to me. I kind of hesitate, but I barely crack my window to see what they want. They start begging me for a ride, claiming that they just need to go down the street. They convince me, so I unlock the door and I let them in. I'm not lucid at this part. I'm just going along with the dream like an idiot. The girl hands me a business card and says, this is where we want to go. I look at it and it says Puerto Rico. I'm like, no, what the hell? I'm not going there. It's too far. I'll drive you as far as I'm going, but that's it. We start to drive and they're acting super weird, super shady. They won't get out of the car when I tell them this is as far as I'm taking you. I see cops approaching next to us and I try to wave them down that these people won't leave me alone, but they just keep driving. The girl reaches over the back seat and covers my mouth while grabbing my head while I'm driving. So she's like type shit. So I can't scream for help. And I'm driving on this long road, but I start to get like drowsy and sleepy and I spin off into the road and I like fall asleep while driving, but the car like spins off and crashes. And then I'm in this like in between void and I'm really confused. I'm like, am I dead? Am I alive? Did I crash? I'm very confused, but I can start to feel my bed around me. So I start to realize, oh, that was a dream, but I'm still halfway in the dream because I get sleep paralysis, but I'm in this liminal space. So I realize that my body is still shut down. It's still asleep, but my mind is awake. And then all of a sudden I feel this dragging sensation. So it's dragging my body through this interdimensional tunnel that I'm often in. And now I'm familiar with it. But when I first had this dream, I was very terrified. So my body was there, but I felt like I was shooting through a tunnel. So it was like dragging by my feet. And I'm like screaming and trying to break free from it, like trying to get out of this paralysis. And finally, I'm able to roll out of the paralysis and I wake up, or I think I woke up, but it's actually a false awakening because it was still a dream. I didn't have any pants on. and I'm like stumbling across the room, like as if I'm drunk. I'm like stumbling through my room. I'm wearing different clothes, no pants. Very weird. The room is like spinning and I'm stumbling. And when I've told this story to some of my dream friends, they've told me that it's kind of happened to them and they call it the spins as like a type of false awakening. But it was very weird and disoriented. Some people are like, oh, that's giving succubus, incubus vibes. But that one freaked me out. But it did not deter me from exploring the dream space at all. I titled that one A Series of Unfortunate Events. Now this one is another one of my favorite dreams, a more positive one. So this one is about Valeria, my alien spirit guide. I'm sitting at a table having lunch with my brother, and we're nearby a school, and he says, tell me about your childhood. So we start talking about memories. And then I'm in the parking lot trying to get back to my car. And I notice that some cars are getting booted or towed. So I'm trying to find my car because I don't want to get booted. This European girl sees me and she assures me that my car's not booted. It's just parked badly. All of a sudden, people start shooting. There's a shootout, gunshots everywhere. I duck and take cover. Everybody starts to run and hide. By this point, I realize, oh wait, this is a dream. What are the chances that I'm in a shootout? Well, I live in the United States, so it might be kind of high. But in this situation, I realized it was a dream. I fly over this huge hotel and I just fly away. And I'm looking at everybody beneath me. It's all this craziness going on. It's like terror beneath me. There's like bombs and shit. Like it looks like fireworks. It's like destructive and pretty at the same time. That was my thought in the dream, at least. And so I send healing energy over all this crazy chaos that's going on in the dream. I'm like, I don't want any chaos, but I'll send my healing love. So I kind of did like a little Reiki over it while I'm flying over the scene. And then I land on a rooftop. There's a group of Mexican looking people. They seem sweet and loving. They're all sitting in peaceful silence. There's like 5 or 6 children, some elderly people, a range of age groups. I'm sitting across from them on the edge of this roof and I'm just staring at them and they're smiling at me and I'm just in awe, fully lucid. I'm like, wow, I'm really in a dream right now, in another dimension, looking at these people and they're just radiating love and sunlight. There's 2 babies next to me and I reach out to give them a hug and they come to me and crawl in my arms. It's very sweet. I love children, but I don't have any of my own. And all of a sudden, I start breastfeeding this infant. And I'm like, wow, this is an experience I've never felt before. That's really interesting. So that was honestly quite powerful just to like have that experience. I'm really thankful for this sweet group of people. They're just showing me love, even though none of us had said a single word to each other. And then at this point, I remember the dream task that I wanted to do. At this time, it was look for spirit guides. So I shout, hey, dream, show me my spirit guides. All of a sudden, over the roof, I hear honk, honk, a car honking, and I go over there. And at first, I'm hesitant. She calls me over. I'm like, oh my God, who is this? Like, I don't know this person. But I look at my new silent friends, and they kind of nod in approval, like, go on, it's all good. So, they give me some confidence, and I go over, hop in the passenger seat of like this go-kart. There's an Asian-looking woman. That's how she's presenting to me. She's like, I'm your spirit guide. My name is Valeria. I'm from an alien race. I watch you all the time. She's like so excited to meet me. We're also kind of talking telepathically, like we're not using our words. She's like, wow, you're so beautiful in person. I watch you all the time. Now, is she talking about my life or like an actual TV show? I don't know. But she's like, yeah, I watch your show all the time. And then she's like, yeah, your show is called 250 Breakfast Occasions. It cracks me up. It's great. And I'm like, wow, okay, I don't know what that means, but like, go me, cool. 250 breakfast occasions. It's just so funny because I always think about that. And I'm like, the only thing that I could do to honor that is come up with 250 different ways to like create a bagel with toppings and do like a morning show where we're talking about our dreams for 250 days straight. So maybe that'll happen. I don't know. We'll see. Her tone implies like my success in the future. And I want to ask her more questions. I have so many questions about whatever it is she's telling me, but the dream starts to fade and I wake up. So that one was fun. I love her. Shout out to Valeria. Okay, this one's cool too. This one's called Nested Dream Traveling. Also one of my favorites. I'm in a van or like a nice SUV with Cardi B and some celebrities. I'm in the back seat. We're talking about making money and how we're not just here to live and then die. We're going out like clubbing or something. The driver is driving crazy, like swerving and like flipping around, and it's giving me anxiety. I'm like wondering if I'm going to survive. Are we crashing? The car is like rolling around on the highway. Finally, the car straightens out, but all of a sudden I projectile vomit out into the car, like on top of everybody. It was very embarrassing. Even though it wasn't my fault because this driver is driving crazy, I feel so horrified that I just threw up on Cardi B and all these celebrities. So we pull over, stop at this club, and I go into the bathroom and I run past everybody and I start vomiting more. I'm trying to tell people, like, no, I'm not drunk. Like, that driving was just insane. Like, I'm completely sober. So that was not lucid, but I wake up from this dream at 5 a.m. and I go back to sleep. I have multiple awakenings into different dreams. I remembered a whole night full of dreams this day. I awaken again in this museum and I'm looking at a lot of beautiful crystal rings and I'm told to pick one out. There's this lady asking me what I think of them. There's nose rings, different colors and gems. She shows me one and says, this one's for lucid dreaming. It's like bluish purple. And I'm like, yeah, give me that. Right up my alley. As soon as I grab the ring in my hands, I become lucid. Immediately, I realize it's a dream. But the dream starts to spin again and transition to a new scene, and I awaken into a new dream. But I'm still lucid. This time, I'm in a huge Mexican restaurant, and I see my family running around. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And my brothers are like, yeah, we own this restaurant. We don't own a restaurant in waking life. But they're like, yeah, this is our restaurant. And I asked them, what year is it? He's like, it's 2029. I had this dream in 2021. There's like busy kitchen, hustle bustle. The chef is showing me like different things on the menu. I'm trying not to get in anybody's way, but my brothers are running this place and I'm really proud of them. I go out into the street. I'm dazed and confused. It's nighttime outside. I just did like 3 dream awakenings, so I'm a little emotionally, mentally exhausted at this point. Even though that was a really cool dream, I'm starting to wonder, am I ever going to wake up from this dream? There's like a Batman stamp on the ground, like a light stamp shining from somewhere in the sky, and it's on the street and it says, God is with you. So that's a little comforting to me and it makes me feel better. There's a chair in the middle of the road and I sit in it. And I really love my life. I want to appreciate it more. And I'm sorry for ever thinking otherwise. I'm feeling really grateful. This dream just gave me a lot of positive motivation, happiness, love. It showed me that there's more in the future. And I'm feeling really happy for my life. I want to go back. I want to wake up, essentially. The chair starts spinning around. And it spins me very, very fast. I forget where I am. I'm very disoriented. I don't know where my body is. So I keep being pulled into different dreams, and I wake up into like 3 more non-lucid dreams until I actually finally wake up for good at 6:33 a.m. So I had like 10 dreams in the course of like an hour, and they each felt like an hour long. So it felt like I was 10 hours in the dream world, but I only recorded 1 hour from the first awakening to the last awakening. Okay, this one's kind of funny. It's called Heart Chakra. I'm lucid in the beginning of this dream, and I'm in the street. There's some weird guys trying to follow me around. They try to kiss me and talk to me, and I'm trying to just walk away from them. I'm lucid, so I know that it's a dream, so I don't really care about like real life consequences. So at first, I'm kind of chatting with them just to like see what they have to say, asking them who they are. But they get kind of creepy, and I get uncomfortable even in the dream. And I want to lose him and do something else, but he keeps following me, so I can't focus on other dream tasks. So I try to like finger shoot him to get rid of him, like pew, pew, pew. When I do that in a dream, sometimes they just poof away into nothingness. But this time it didn't work. So I try a spell to make him forget our entire interaction. I say, Forgetto Magneto, first thing that comes to my mind, and he drips into the ground and forgets everything. So now that he's gone, I decide to stabilize the dream. I'm like feeling the walls around me. I look into the cracks of this concrete wall. There's tiny little miniature frogs in there, very cute. And I'm just admiring the details. I keep walking around, feeling the grass on my toes. And then I go inside this huge furniture store. Sitting upright on the bed is this white man with round sunglasses and long blonde hair. He's smiling and looks really happy to see me. There's another dude sitting around, and I asked them, hey, can I see my spirit guides? This was around the same time where I had that dream task for quite a while. He says, yes, actually, they came here to speak to you. I knew I was about to wake up. For some reason, I couldn't finish this dream, and I instantly feel like I'm being pulled away by my heart chakra out of the dream and waking up. Kind of like in the other dream where I could feel that I was being dragged by my feet. In this one, I was being dragged by my heart, energetically. But it wasn't as scary and painful. It was more loving. and I woke up. I start off in a new dream when I go back to sleep, but this time I'm not lucid. At first, I'm in a Home Depot and everybody's buying Christmas lights, and it takes me a second, but eventually I realized that I'm dreaming. So I'm lucid again and I just go outside. There's a lady walking around pushing her shopping cart, and I just flash her my boobs because I'm like, this is a dream. What's she gonna do? Like, nobody's really gonna see me. This is in my head. So I'm just like, psh. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, I just feel free. So I just took my shirt off and I'm just like laying in the middle of the street like this, like topless. Highly recommend. Very fun, very freeing. Can't do it in waking life, but in the dream, no consequences. And then I kind of get scared for a second, like, wait, let me make sure this is a dream again, just in case. So I do like a reality check. Okay, I'm still dreaming. My fingers stretched like rubber. Sometimes you got to make sure. This is some of my earlier lucid dreams, so a lot of times I would kind of doubt myself. And then I get the idea to ask some dream characters for advice. So I'm at the outdoor shopping area, and there's some railings. So first I do like some parkour backflips, and I'm just kind of doing tricks on the railings that I can't actually do in waking life. So that was fun. And then I remember a command that I wanted to try. So I screamed to the dream, higher self now. Like, bring me my higher self. A little wimpy blonde boy shows up and starts walking around. He's trying to talk to me and he's very nice. And I think to myself, there's no way that's representative of my higher self, but oh well, I guess I'll talk to him. So I'm thinking to myself what my dream goals are. I ask him, how can I get rich in under a year? He says, oh, you've never been a millionaire? Easy. He says, sell edibles. You got any other ideas for me? That's not very logical. He's like, well, what other herbs can you make edibles with? What other herbs can you work with? I'm like, well, you know, there's CBD and blue lotus and mugwort. There's a lot of herbs that I love. He's like, well, there you go. That's a great idea. I want to keep asking him more questions because I wasn't really satisfied with that answer, but I woke up. This one's called Family Over Everything, and it's a visitation dream with my deceased grandparents. I'm instantly lucid going into this dream. I'm sitting at a table with my grandfather who passed in 2003, sitting across from me. It feels so real. I'm so happy to see him. It's really the essence of his soul, just how I remember him. His mannerisms, everything. He has gifts for me, and he gives me a bag with individually wrapped crystals. Big ones, small ones. One of them looks like one that I actually have in waking life. And I start talking to him, and he's chatting with me about what he's been doing since he left us on Earth. He's telling me about all his lives, not just the life that I remember him as a doctor, but he's saying he was also a pilot, a war veteran, a woman, all these things. And so at first I'm a little confused. I'm like, wait, but are you still my grandfather? He kind of laughs and winks in confirmation, telling me that yes, he is, but he is more than just that physical incarnation of my grandfather. So he's just the culmination of that entity checking on me and talking with me. And I ask him if he misses us. He says all the time, I check on you sometimes, but I also have other things I have to do in the spirit world. That's what he told me. But he said he's proud of us. I'm like looking into his eyes and I can like see myself in his reflection and I'm just in awe. I'm like, I can't believe you died and here I am sitting talking to you. I'm fully lucid, by the way. He says, do you want to see something cool? I'm like, yeah, duh. He says, follow me, and he takes me outside into the front yard of this house. There's a woman standing outside, and I instantly recognize her. It's my great-grandmother who I only met as a baby, and I don't really have a solid memory of what she looks like in my brain, but I recognized her in the dream, and I later saw a photo of her, and she looks exactly like she looked in the dream. She's really happy to see me in this dream, and she gives me a big hug, and we just like embrace, and we're talking about how long it's been, and what we've been up to, and we're just catching up. Not too long after, an old woman comes up from around the corner and she says, is it just you guys out here? We're like, yeah. And she points at me and she's like, now you know she's not supposed to be here, right? Instantly I knew. I was like, oh, here go the dream police telling me that I'm doing too much or whatever, trying to ruin my lucid fun. She pulls out like this Rick and Morty type portal gun and shoots it at me, like this portal radar right into my like torso. And it shoots me back into my body, and I feel this warm, tingly radiation for like 5 minutes after I woke up where she shot me. I can still feel it. So this is another one of my favorites. It's called my Lucid Dreamwork friend. I'm in this very busy parking lot outside of a mall. I'm not lucid yet, but there's a lot of drama going on. Like on the building, there's this projection of some celebrity drama going on, and everybody in the parking lot is just mesmerized like zombies, just like watching it go down. And in that moment, when I see everybody's zombie-like reactions, I become lucid. And I'm like, oh, this is a dream. Kind of metaphorical, right? My phone is acting glitchy, so like I can't take any pictures or record anything. So I'm like, whatever, give up on that. But I feel on the concrete to stabilize myself in the dream. I even lick the concrete, tastes just like concrete, and that makes the dream more vivid. Suddenly, a girl about my age, long red hair, very pretty, runs up to me. And she's like, you need to come with me. I'm like, why? I just got lucid. I have all these fun things I'm about to go do. I'm about to have fun and fly around. Like, why are you trying to, derail my dream? She's like, no, I've been looking for you. I wanted to find you in the dream space. I'm a lucid dreamer too, and I really need to talk to you. I'm like, okay, girl, you have my attention. Let's go. So she takes me into this like secret speakeasy room that leads me into this kitchen and this other office with a courtyard. She's like talking to me about all these things she wants to do in waking life, about how we got to meet up later in waking life and do these missions together. And I'm kind of listening to her, but I'm also kind of distracted because I see a fridge in the kitchen. And I remember how I've been craving this really fancy Kobe beef sushi. And I really wanted to try it. So I open the fridge and imagine that it's going to be there. And of course, there's a sushi roll. It's not the one that I wanted, but it still looks good. And so I'm like eating the sushi. I offer her some. She's like, oh yeah, that's good. And then she keeps talking about these missions that she wants to do. She's like very serious about these lucid dreaming missions that we have to do in waking life. And I'm just kind of like distracted by eating sushi and doing whatever. So then I ask her, who are you in the real world, in the waking life? And she says that she's from London. She tells me her name. I can't really remember it. And I'm asking her, is this really what you look like? She's like, yeah, but I have like a British accent. So I ask her if we can be friends and like follow each other on Instagram or something. She says that we're not ready yet. We have to help each other out, but it's not time yet. This was like years ago. She asks me when my last period was. I'm like, oh, I just got off. She's like, okay, good. So we're going to be synced up so that when we do these dreaming experiments and missions together, it'll go smoother. Okay, sounds cool. Like she knew more than me. So I was like, all right. She leads me outside and I'm trying to follow along so I can hear more about these missions that we're doing, but I start to wake up. Of course. I wake up into a new dream after that, but I'll skip to something more interesting. I'm scrolling through my dream journal. Another dream task I had for a very long time was to visit Egypt. So I become lucid in this dream, and I'm in a house with a lot of bedrooms and a lot of doors. And I'm fully lucid at this point, so I close a door, and I fully imagine to myself, when I open this door, it's going to be a portal to Egypt, and I can just walk on through to the pyramids. Take me to ancient Egypt, and I open the door. Sure enough, a whole other country on the other side, Egypt, pyramids in the background, sand, and it opens the door into somebody's house, like close to the pyramids. I'm on this lady's porch. She has like nose piercings and henna tattoos and really good energy. They have all these really pretty like rugs and decor around. I look on my finger and I have a yin yang tattoo on my finger, which I don't in waking life, but in this dream I was like, oh, cool. And I'm just like admiring the pyramids. This family that I just walked in on, they're like cooking dinner and they're talking to me and they're very welcoming. And I want to go explore the pyramids, but I wake up shortly after our conversation. But I was really happy that I successfully incubated entering Egypt. In this other dream, I become lucid and I think to do a task where I can just ask dream characters how to make $1 million. So I see a dog around and I go up to the dog. He's a German Shepherd, and I'm going to ask him how I can make $1 million. I look at the dog, and before I can even say anything, the dog goes, how can I make $1 million? He like projects my thoughts back onto me. And I'm like, bro, I was about to ask you that. Don't project onto me. Clearly useless dream character, so I keep walking, and I ask somebody else. I'm like, how to make $1 million? They're like, oh, go to space and become a scientist. Okay, I'll try that. So then I go to another dream character, and I ask them again, how can I make $1 million? He goes, capitalize off of social media. I'm like, okay, that's not a bad one. Not helpful, but I'll try it, I guess. And in this same dream, I remembered my task of wanting to go to Egypt. So I'm trying to do the same thing where I'm opening all these doors, but the doors won't open. They're like all locked. So eventually I just give up. I go into the bathroom and I look in the mirror and I'm Paul McCartney, like one of the Beatles. I'm not physically presenting as me. And I'm like, whoa, why am I a man? But I'm lucid, so I'm like, whatever. Weird dream stuff. And then I remember that I want to know what it's like to drive a Ferrari. So I go outside and I'm like, boom, there's going to be a Ferrari outside. And there is. And a Ferrari just like pulls right up to the curb. There's like a guy in the passenger seat, but I'm like, okay, whatever, you can hang. So I get in the car and I start driving. I'm like feeling the steering wheel, the leather, everything is so vivid. And I'm just zooming through the dream. And we zoom up into the air and we're like flying through space in this Ferrari. And I'm fully lucid, so it was a lot of fun. This dream is called Steak. As most of my lucid dreams do, I start off in an old elementary or middle school of mine. And all of a sudden, someone starts shooting around me or some chaos is going on. And then I run away until I realize, wait, maybe I'm dreaming. Hopefully I'm dreaming. Yep, I'm dreaming. Unusual panic is not part of my daily routine, thankfully. So I fly away from the scene and I land on a roof. And I'm observing all the textures. I can literally see the moss on the ground and like insects flying around. It's so realistic. There's a box right next to me, a to-go box. I open it up. It's a steamy, juicy steak. I eat it and I'm just sitting on this roof looking at the view. It's this huge building with like restaurants and hotels. And I'm just literally so vividly tasting this steak, and it's so real and so juicy. Next to me is a cage of gray kittens. And they're really cute. And I know it's a dream. I consider giving them some steak, but I choose not to interact with them. Because in a lucid dream, you kind of have to be picky about what you choose to interact with, because it can take the dream in a whole different direction. And I just kind of wanted to explore. So I walk around after I eat my steak and I go into this bedroom. It's like a 90s teenager bedroom. And I'm looking around wondering if this is really someone's room. Like, I'm just in awe. There's like notebooks and a diary, a journal, a bunch of different things that just make this place so realistic, so detailed about someone's life. I even look through the closet to see what clothes they have. And then I see a VCR player and it has some buttons on it, and I push one of the buttons. And then a speaker comes out and it says, "This room is haunted," in like a creepy voice. All of a sudden I get nervous. I'm like, nope, I don't like this dream anymore. And I walk out of the room and I get a little anxious, so the dream fades. I manage to gain stability of the dream again. And I find my brother, who's also a lucid dreamer. So I'm showing him different things in the dream. I'm like showing him how to fly around, how to make things bigger and smaller. And he's learning in the dream, doing it with me. I'm like, look, we're dreaming. Look what I can do. I find a Polaroid camera and I take a picture of us. In this dream, it came out good. In another dream, I tried to take a picture of myself and I didn't show up in the picture like a vampire. It was just the room without me in it. But in this one, I showed up in the picture and I was like, wow, a picture of me from another dimension. Look at this picture of me standing in another dimension. Like, I wish I could take this picture back with me into the waking. But of course I can't. So I only have it in my memory. This dream is called 2029. It's like the second or third dream I have of dreaming of the year 2029. So I wake up in the year 2029 and I have amnesia of the past few years. I'm in an industrial looking warehouse and I'm very confused. This dude next to me seems to know me and he's kind of filling me in on things that I missed. Some people I recognize, some people I don't. He's mentioning people that maybe I haven't met yet. And we're all floating around on this big spaceship thing. And when I look out the window, there's like other planets and meteors, and people are talking about which spaceship they went to and which planets they visited. And then I enter like a computer room. It's like an industrial metal room. Each computer has a name of a file on it, like people that I know and even names that I don't recognize, even brands names. Like there's one that says Pillsbury Dough. And I find one with my brother's name on it. So I start reading the file. And I'm start reading letters that he's sending me from where he lives. And I'm start reading about his dreams and his first lucid dreams. He hasn't had a lucid dream yet. And I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, this is like some Akashic Records type thing. Part of it is like scribbled out. So like it's hidden from me and I can't read all of it. This lady like walks by and I'm kind of just trying to act normal. Like I'm just a dream character. I'm not a lucid dreamer. I'm not nosy. And she asked me what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, I'm just cleaning up before I leave the office. And she's like, okay. I use some hand sanitizer to like stabilize and just smell it. It smells so realistic, just like hand sanitizer. It feels cold on my hands. I'm always like so in awe at how realistic things feel. And really focusing on what things feel like and smell like helped me ground myself into the dream. And then I see a huge stack of books. They're kind of arranged in a circular structure. And they're all books containing universal explanations of consciousness and lucidity and like this deep interdimensional knowledge. It's like beyond human comprehension, like higher dimensional literature that we can't understand. and I see a pack of blue lotus joints. And so I grab one to smoke one, but it's kind of canoeing and it's not acting right, so I just give up on that. And I keep exploring the dream. And then some other boring, not interesting stuff happens that I won't get into on this video because it's already like 40 minutes long. I'm just kind of going through my dream journal and like finding fun moments that I want to share to have it all in one video. Okay, this one's fun. It's called Adam the Bunny. So I'm in a pet store and I'm looking at all these really cute bunnies and guinea pigs and animals, not lucid yet, but one of the employees is like around and I'm talking to them, and we see one of the rabbits just like jumping around to different cages, walking around the store. And the employee's like, yeah, that's normal. He does that. And I'm like, wow, that is so cute. Like, I love that he just roams the store on his own. He like jumps into another tank to like cuddle with one rabbit and then goes over there back to his house. I make a joke about how the rabbit has hoes in different area codes, like the song. And she laughs and shows me a dance that goes with the song. And it was like a funny little happy dream moment. And then when I go outside, I look at the store sign and I realize that it says something gibberish. And I'm like, wait a second. This is a dream. That's not the name of the pet store. And that's when I become lucid. And I think I took the bunny with me, actually. So that was fun. So what's interesting now is that the dream starts to fade to all black. So I start to think, oh, I'm about to wake up. Like, I don't want to wake up yet. So what I do is, even though I'm blind, I can't see anything, everything is black, I start to feel things around me. So I can feel the ground, I can feel the walls. Even though the dream is black, I'm like, no, I'm not waking up yet. And I'm determined to get back into the dream. So I slowly start forming things out of the black nothingness void. I start forming a wall, a door, a couch, and slowly I start to gain my vision back and I can see the dream. And now I'm in like this empty apartment and I'm like, perfect, the canvas of what I want to create. So I start creating my dream home, like with my studio and this nice couch and this pretty decor, and I'm just kind of like using like my fingers as a magic wand to like make things appear, and some things appear, some things don't, but I give myself a beautiful view and I'm fully lucid now. So I'm just like creating the scene, and then finally I'm like, I can relax in this little home that I created for myself. I'm literally making my dream home if I had unlimited money, which in the dream I did. I just snap my fingers and I have a giant cloud couch or whatever I want. So that was fun. This is another one very special and close to my heart. It's called Dream Research Institute. I'm walking down the street on a college campus, lots of students walking around, and at this point I'm lucid, so I mentally tell myself I'm going to go to the Dream Research Institution. So I walk into this building, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for the place that researches dreams. The front desk lady is like, yeah, you came to the right place. Come in here, I'll give you a tour. I'm looking around and I see a letter on the table of like one of the employees cursing somebody out, which is kind of funny, but I just ignore it. The lady tells me to take my shoes off and she's like, come with me. And I'm like, why? But I just do it anyways. And they have these tapes, like all these tapes of everybody's dreams that we've had, that we will have, like a record of everybody. And there's some with my name on them. And she's telling me about the research they're doing in this other dimension, how they send dreams to people to see if they'll become lucid, and they work with lucid dream trainers on Earth, and it's like this big project that they're doing, and they're creating a school on Earth and teaching people how to lucid dream through different creators, such as myself. And I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. So she's asking me about my story, and I'm telling her, and we're chatting. And I'm starting to get a little emotional because I'm like, wow, here I am in another dimension, sitting in a place that researches dreams. And I come from Earth where, you know, it's like a woo-woo thing, and we're just now kind of starting to research dreams. Don't get me wrong, people are, and I respect the dream researchers that are doing what they're doing now. But it's still very niche and very new to the scientific world. And so I'm getting emotional in this dream, and I start tearing up, telling the lady like, wow, like dreams are so suppressed on Earth. And then I woke up. I've done so many cool things in my lucid dreams. I've found my future children. I've explored past lives. I've talked to dream characters about situations in my current life that I needed advice on. This is just a small snippet of some of my favorite lucid dreams that I just came across while scrolling through my dream journal. I have so many more that I love sharing and want to share. And maybe I'll make another part 2 video. But for now, let me know what you think. If any of my dreams stood out to you or you had something similar, please comment and let me know because I want to hear about your dreams too. If you're just getting into lucid dreaming and you want some ideas of what you can do, check out the link below, the ultimate list of things to do in a lucid dream. A lot of the things I've done in my lucid dreams are on there. It's a list created by a group of onronauts or dream explorers who are advanced lucid dreamers and have done a lot of fun things in their dreams. And at the bottom of the list, I even have a top 10 suggestions from legends in the Dreamwork field, such as Robert Wagner and Ed Kellogg. So be sure to check out the ultimate list of things to do in a lucid dream. And I hope you enjoyed my dream stories. Thanks for listening.